Yo ho ho! What's going on, guys? This is Grimm Reaper bringing you another One Punch Man review. Today we're covering chapter 119. I want to apologize for being a day late with the review, but I was initially going to record and then I couldn't get my thoughts together. I didn't know exactly how to present it. So today I decided to just spew my thoughts out there, and I'm just going to lay them out. Whatever I get to, I get to. Whatever I don't. And then you can check the in-depth discussion and breakdown in the One Punch Man podcast. But I'm going to try to address everything I can and clearly get my thoughts out, because this chapter had a lot in it. Before that, remember to like, subscribe. Remember to check out our Patreon to help support the channel and help us grow. Remember my member. Also remember to check out the Discord. We have all our chats, debates, discussions, arguments about One Punch Man and all different kinds of anime and manga. So if you want to join in and change the culture and environment of the community, come through. But let's get into it. So obviously Drive Knight is evil. This chapter has presented him as the absolute villain. Like, the amount of bad or obvious hints and tells that he's trying to hide information or that he has nefarious intentions for the information that he's gathering, and in the conversation with Second Guard himself, it's pretty obvious that he's the individual that he's warning about. The problem is that we don't know of Drive Knight's origins. We don't know who is the actual person leading the machinations that Drive Knight seems to be acting out. And we don't know what the actual machinations are. Like, we don't know what the plan is. We're getting hints of it. It seems like it has to do with Blast getting information on heroes and attacking the association. Those seem to be the huge keys that are going to lead into the actual reveals of this huge plot, because it's been swirling up to the beginning. Now that it's actually gotten this far, we can be connected that we know for sure in the beginning, with Drive Knight encountering Genos, and Genos maybe even having to deal with the Mad Cyborg in the beginning of the storyline. That may all be connected in deep, deep roots. The question is, what part does Drive Knight have, and why is it that in every occasion that he's around Genos, he has a peculiar attitude, whether it's, being friendly, as in, not necessarily friendly, but warning him. And now, I'm pretty sure the next thing that we're going to get from Drive Knight is more bullshit, more fancy talk, trying to convince Genos and Second Guard of his intentions, that they're not like evil or whatever, or that like he's going to try to manipulate them. So this facial expression right now is the telltale. For sure, this is what we're supposed to be looking at. This is why we are running the hashtag right now. Hashtag the hype for Drive Knight versus Genos is real. And you gotta mix it up, so make it smaller or whatever. But that's actually the case. It's no longer speculation on individuals' parts of the small little hints we've gotten, or the quotes that we get, or the obvious glaring openings of characters. It's like these people are now engaged in an active situation. Drive Knight engaged these mind games with Second Guard. He started it. It wasn't like Second Guard was getting information from him. It wasn't that Second Guard mentioned traitors. It was Drive Knight who mentioned traitors first. He's the one who's been leading the conversation the entire time. Second Guard has just been the conduit in which Drive Knight is both getting the information that he needs, as well as controlling and manipulating and positioning Second Guard's way of thinking into assisting him or aligning with Drive Knight's intentions. I need to see what Genos is going to do here. I don't believe that we're going to get a fight between Genos and Drive Knight, like for real, but the tensions are at an all-time high right now. Like, if this was Doomsday Clock, we'd be at like 12:59 with like some atomic microseconds in that bitch. We have to account for some shit like that, bro. Like, that's how close we are to Drive Knight getting taken off on by Genos in the second bit, or Genos busting off on Drive, or Drive Knight busting off on Genos, bro. But at the same time, Genos is really, I don't want to say gullible, but he's impressionable. I don't want to describe it as like the way that you first present yourself to him is overly significant, because that's just an introduction. Sure, it means a lot, and it can define you, and it often does define you. That's how characters are defined in introduction. But you can change from that, or like somebody, for example, somebody can tell you some information, like what happened with Drive Night and Genos, and you don't have to take that information like at hand. Just leave it on the side, and not actually take it into account, and then go on about your way. Use your own opinion, use your own whereabouts, your own reasoning to go about things. We've seen characters do that all the time, defying, what the rule of law is, or defying their parents or whatever who instruct them in a certain way, and they do the opposite. It happens all the time. I think Genos is that type. Not necessarily gullible, but if you want to use that word, I wouldn't trip too crazy about it. Genos, on the other hand, could also flip. He's not stupid. And if Drive Knight intends to kill Genos in this situation, he could take him out. Like, Genos is a very, very capable individual. Like, he has all kinds of sensors and equipment. He himself is intelligent. He is intuitive. And he's not only battle capable, but he can low-key probably investigate some shit. Like, Genos is smart, bro. And so, I don't want to say that Genos could probably, point something out here. And I don't think the second guard could either. But second guard is actually putting up some more flags than I thought he would. A lot of times when we read these stories, or when you're watching TV, a character will do something that's obviously stupid, or no, don't do that, you're yelling at the screen or whatever. I was kind of getting that same feel with the second guard situation, because he is indeed being led to a certain way of thinking, but he's also raising certain yellow flags at certain instances. We even saw Drive Night get upset and be like, just believe me, he's a bad guy type shit. It's good writing on one's part to keep that balance. No one in this conversation is completely discredited. Everybody has value. Everybody has can add weight into this. Second guard has the ability to contact the rest of the association, and him vouching for any stance is gonna hold weight. If he tells them that Drive Night is a traitor, they will take action in accordance to that. If he tells them that Metal Knight's a traitor, they will take action in accordance to that. He doesn't necessarily have the information or the ability to contact Blast, as he mentioned, but there are few who need that, and it's not necessarily to have that to be significant. He's a position of value. Genos is a strong, capable individual. From the beginning, entering the story, not only did Amai address him, but other heroes in the association, as well as the actual association themselves, took note of him. Yes, he isn't the strongest. Yes, he fails a lot. Yes, us as viewers understand that his powers can fail mostly because of who he's up against situationally. It just happens to happen coincidentally all the time. But Genos is capable physically. And as we already spoke about, and as we've seen a few times, Genos is also capable intuitively. And you have Drive Knight, who, as we mentioned before as well, is leading this conversation. He's the one gathering information and actually portraying this entire conversation to an extreme display. He elevated it. There was one time where he comedically elevated it whenever G5 came out. And he was like, second guard, can you contact Blast? Nigga, what? Oh, it's a demon. Where's Blast at? Fuck out of here, bro. Nah, this nigga's obviously on that shit, man. He's on that shit for real. And he's pushing that thread. And I was really surprised in those instances, and Murata and One did a very good job of putting us in a suspense of not knowing if Drive Knight was gonna make a move. So many times I thought he was on the edge of just killing that bitch ass nigga second guard, of attacking his ass, taking him out. He's really the only person. Well, think about it like this, right? Two colors, blue and red, right? So the blue guys are the ones who know about the traitors, but they're on the association side, and the red guys are the bad guys. So technically, quote unquote, Metal Knight and Drive Knight. But let's just keep it to Drive Knight. As long as one of those blue pieces gets away from the other blue pieces and is not in communication with them, and they don't know where he is or who he's talked to, spoken to, or even revealed the fact that he knows about a traitor, that blue piece that's separate can be killed without problem. And there won't necessarily be a suspicion of oh, he was killed because he knew about the situation. They wouldn't be able to attribute the fact that second guard died because he had information about the traitor that's in the association. There was nothing to link that. He hadn't spoken to anybody, he hadn't contacted anybody in the association as of recent, or as of the conversation with Drive Knight. And that's even more reason as to why it's so suspicious that G5 comes in and blows up the phone that Sekhingar has in his hand. You can attribute it to the fact that, oh, hey, man, he's calling call for backup. We can't have more heroes coming. I'm fucked up, you know, it's tough type shit, right? Sure, we'll give it to that too. But you also can't deny that on the other hand, it's super coincidental that right when he was about to call the association, something comes and destroys the phone. So whatever side you want to entertain, that's fine. But we can't ignore the other side either. Then he also coincidentally loses energy to defend Sekhingar. He immediately flipped the black box off his back, put it down, and then it looked like he was prepared for something. And then he says that. Now, I went back to the beginning chapters when we first saw Drive Knight, and whenever he was taking out those tiger monsters in a group and interrogating them, he was like, oh, don't worry about it, I'm just going to kill you regardless. The box was indeed in tip-top shape. And whenever we were getting described the fact that he's taking a lot of damage from battle, that he's exhausted, the box was pretty beat up. So the comparison in terms of physical appearance, it does hold up. I'll give you that. He wasn't bullshitting and his box looked perfectly fine. But I find that pretty odd of a guy like Drive Knight. If that's the case, we're talking about a huge nerf in this character. An indisputable huge nerf in this character. And after a certain amount of time in combat, which we can't necessarily like disregard it, you know. King was quote unquote said to be fighting all night long before he went to the hero meeting, and that was known as a freaking feat, right? So if Drive Knight was doing as well, especially in the den of the monsters, the places they're attacking, you know, quote unquote one of the most dangerous places that the association knows currently right now, it's a pretty good feat too. So I'll give him that. It's a great feat, and that's I don't want to say it's a King level feat, but it is comparable to what King did, maybe on a smaller scale though. But even taking that into account, the conversations about high dragons, that should stop. All that should stop. If Drive Knight has a certain amount of energy required to run, that's all done. That's all done. He's a mid-dragon, powerful as fuck. I don't even think that he was, I was never saying that he was a high dragon. He was always just a dragon, you know, a level fighter to me, you know, pretty powerful, cool, tough, durable as fuck, effective, quick, a lot of fire shit, you know, cool looking, badass type shit, you know, like the Transformer shit, you know, cool ass nigga. No, not a high dragon though. It was Zoe that was out there pushing that narrative, and you know, he had the entire community on half the side fucking talking all this shit. But this addresses that differently. Whatever you want the case to be, and we know for a fact, once again, we have to entertain both sides. Coincidentally, Drive Knight losing energy here is another piece of almost unprecedented luck for this demon G5. Almost unprecedented, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, what's going on here, dog? Like, we're supposed to be seeing all these hints. Everything that I'm pointing out, we're supposed to be seeing that. It's that clear. It's that clear. But at the same time, this is One Punch Man. This is one. The man who's known to use other tropes and tendencies of other authors throughout, like, a bunch of different sources of literature and, like, just play with it, bro. Flip it on its side. Like, make it into something else. Use it and make fun of it. Like, he's a genius, a monster for that. Worldwide renowned for that in particular. So, I can't help but get the feeling, what if Drive Knight is not evil? What if Drive Knight's telling the truth? One character that above all else we have not gotten development for, in this chapter in particular, is where he got that hype, right? They put that fucking, they was out there sucking up Metal Knight, bro. This is the first time we get characterization for him. Who's to say he's not some evil, down, dirty bastard who's sitting there after world domination, as was mentioned by Drive Knight in particular. And because he has such powerful capabilities, the organization has an imperative to get rid of them. It's competition. As a company, bro. If nigga B is doing good, and I'm nigga A, and we gotta do good in the same way, like, you know, for example, we out there, you know, eating bread, right? And there's 10 loaves of bread, and whoever eats the most of bread, you know, gets paid the most, right? You know, right? Like, $10,000 per crumb. You know, we out there making millions and shit. Making 5 loaves of bread, 10 loaves of bread. You know, this nigga decides to go out there and eat, you know, 2/3 of the loaves of bread and shit, while I'm out there eating 1/3. Like, nani? No, bro, that's not cool. We would have to go half, and that's That's basically what's going on. Like, Drive Knight or the organization cannot allow Meta Knight to continue whatever it is that he's doing. I'm not sure if it's world domination, but I know that nigga's out there testing weapons and shit out all the fucking time. And he never wants to help for other things that don't benefit him or aren't high threats. And that's fine, you know, we're not saying that Meta Knight has to come up for a tiger, but like, it took EC for Meta Knight to come. And after that, he still didn't pull out a whole army. It was just his favorite Meta Knight drone. So it's arguable, I'll say that at the least, as to Meta Knight's actual stance. Until we get development from him, until Child Emperor gives us more information about Meta Knight outside of actually just seeing Meta Knight interact with the storyline, the main plot himself, we just can't say that much about Meta Knight. He's not here to make a case for himself. I'm not telling you to believe Drive Knight. I am not telling you to believe Drive Knight. I'm not telling you to believe Drive Knight. I'm telling you that one is a magician. And shit, bro, this is pretty freaking obvious. And before we close the review, I want to talk about some quick little notes. Some things that were of great notice in this chapter. First was some clout for Neon. Drive Knight clarifying that you shouldn't really try to attack or fight Neon head on. It'd be pretty tough. He's really, really evasive. It just wouldn't work out. And he was able to actually like use prep to beat him. It's not necessarily, and that's a hit for Drive Knight because that's just how he fights, and that's not a negative thing. That's actually a good thing. But it's also not a down play for Neon. You should actually hype him up for that because somebody had to prepare for him, and he was still able to, you know, do that well for that long, even though it wasn't really that long. He didn't really do that well. He also has information. I don't want to say similar information, but he does have information on Bug God, If You're Ugly, Black Sperm, Neon, and Giro. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, if he thinks that he could beat them, if he thinks that like he's capable of fighting them, or if this is just the information that he's gathered. But it's pretty cool to see that, and it gives us more hints towards later on in the storyline. I'm referring to the fact that if this guy's really evil, then him being able to gather information or having the tendency to gather information may be pretty dangerous in terms of other heroes. I don't know if it was common knowledge or not, but Drive Knight had a lot of information about Meta Knight. And if that's because of him spying on him, then I don't see why any other hero, Tatsumaki for example, or Flash or Atomic, or any other high, strong guy like Darkshine for example, wouldn't be subject to the same treatment. I also want to give a shout out to Genos when he came in. Very, very, very powerful. High speculations on Genos' power level. Is he a high dragon now? Does he have EC's armor? If you look at the design whenever the explosion is there, he has those spikes on the side that kind of resemble the legs of other centipede that were left. I'm not saying anything, but that was indeed some topic that was speculated in Discord after the chapter released. So I'm wondering, and I'm excited to see what you guys think about, is Genos wearing EC armor? And does that make him a high dragon if he is? I personally think Genos is a high dragon right now, or has the capacity to be a high dragon right now. Previously, whenever he took on EC and Gorilla, I thought that he was a dragon for sure. That was Dragon Genos. But now, this is a whole different story. Remember to like, subscribe, guys. Check out the One Punch Man podcast that's coming out in a few days in regards to chapter 119. There's going to be a lot of speculation and conversation. Zhoniin is pushing his Drive Knight theory, and I'm excited and interested to see as to what his ideas are now with this recent chapter's release and the information that we got. I don't know if he's going to continue to support it, if his viewpoint's changed, if it's evolved, if it's confirmed what he's already believed, or if he's going to give us a whole other different story. We'll find out then. But I'm going to see you boys next time. Remember to check out the Patreon to help support the channel. Remember to come to Discord to chat about everything that you want to talk about, anime and manga, anything in general. We'll see you boys next time. Yo ho!